Hey everyone, my name's Sean Stringham with Game On Live Studio, and I'm here in Salt Lake City, Utah, in Studio 13 at the Game On Live Studio headquarters. And I've got Joel Fransisco with me. Joel Fransisco is one of the head evaluators for USA Water Polo, athlete evaluators, and one of our just incredible Game On Live Studio commentators. Joel, to welcome to the show. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well, man. Thanks for having me, Sean.
My pleasure. We're gonna make this a pretty regular thing with Joel. He's gonna help us break down what's happening in Southern California, specifically around futures. We're gonna be talking about 18U futures and 16U futures. We'll throw a little Cap 7 in there, maybe talk a little bit about ODP as well. Joel, but I'm gonna just kind of turn it over here to you. And how do you feel like, what's the current status for water polo as we're coming into week 2 here for Futures Water Polo League?
I think everything's going pretty much as I expected. As I looked at the top 6 teams in 18U's future on that first weekend, I wasn't able to be there, but I looked at the top 6 this weekend. What Futures is going to do for 18s this week and next week for 16s is they call what's called a crossover. So they allow teams from like D2, D3 to work their way up possibly into the D1 zone. And so you'll be seeing that. The top 6 will just be playing against each other, where I'll be on Jay Sarah this weekend. And there's a lot of obviously fantastic matchups. We got an up-and-coming team, up-and-coming program, Channel Islands United. They actually did well last year, and they have a really good group, solid group of 18s, 16s, and they have one of the probably top 3, I would say, 14U groups too.
Wow, incredible.
That Wolf Wygo is coaching, and his son Shannon Wygo is one of the better 8th graders in the country. And they've got Ren Fujikati, and they got a bunch of good players. So yes, Channel Islands is definitely up and coming, and their 18s led by Tom Davis, who's also part of the USA Water Polo staff. He coaches the 18s, and they got a really solid squad. So I'm looking forward to see them play against, the Newports, the Missions, and Del Mar's, obviously another program that in the last couple of years have really
they've turned it on at every level as well.
On every level, and they're continue to do that. This weekend I was at an ODP camp where the SPA teams, which is generally Southern California teams, east of Long Beach, all the way down to like San Clemente, playing against all the San Diego teams, Pacific Southwest. So there was a lot of really good players at the cadet level. So those are all kids that are 8th, 9th, and 10th graders.
Right.
Del Mar's, and there's a lot of, San Diego Water Polo. I don't know if this is getting off topic, but
that's all right. We can do what we want. That's the best news.
Okay, but San Diego Water Polo in the last few years is really, really, it's not just Del Mar and San Diego Shores. You have other programs that are getting really quality players. You got Carlsbad down there. Odin was another program last year at 14s, had a bunch of good players. East as well. I hope I don't, I'm forgetting a couple. La Jolla, obviously.
Right, yeah.
Well, so there's just a really good influx of athletes coming out of the San Diego area, and I think people are going to be able to see that, and guys and girls.
Right.
So I think that's going to be, because we want parity, right?
Right.
We just, we have the open divisions and all that, and everybody's like, oh, is it going to be Mission and Newport again? It's like we want parity. We want other teams coming up, and because it's fun.
Right.
It's not obvious. So, but yeah, so 18s, I'm really looking forward to that down at Jay Sarah this weekend.
And let's just
Mission.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, in terms of looking at the standings that we have from week number 1 for Futures 18U, Newport Beach with 16 points after week 1, Vanguard in the B group with 16 points, and then you've got Del Mar in second in the A group with 13, Mission in second with 13. Any surprises there? And then it drops down to Trojan with 10 points. And then a 3-way tie with 7 between SoCal, SD Shores, and CIU. Any surprises there?
Well, it's really interesting. Vanguard's an interesting story because last year they had one of the more talented teams, and they had kids from everywhere come in.
Right.
Morgan Stanley came in from Foothill High School. You had Oleg, who had a really good year at UC Davis. He came in from down in Irvine University High School. So you had a bunch of kids, Ethan Spoon, all of them came together, Christian Hammonds and all that. And now they got a completely different group, and they're doing well. They didn't do quite as well in the Cap 7 tournament. They had some struggles there. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to them, like stepping up their game and see what they do here at Futures. They got some quality players. Charlie Jones going to UC Irvine is a good player. Ivan Ziyanovich going to Long Beach State is a quality player. And they got others too. Dusan Djordjevic from Huntington Beach. He's going to UC San Diego. So they have a number of good guys. So I'm looking forward. The Vanguard was the surprise of week 1 for me. And
Yeah.
So I'm really intrigued to see how they play out here at playing against the CIU, Newport, Mission, and all those teams.
And it looks like as we go into this weekend coming up on Saturday here, that's going to be the 15th of February, and we will watch all of those games on the Goals Network. As you look at there, I don't know if you have the schedule there in front of you. We've got, it looks like Del Mar against Mission, both seated in the second position there in their individual groups. Trojan, Vanguard, Newport, CIU. Are there any key matchups this weekend that you're interested in terms of like you've got a real eye on as you're getting ready to call those games?
Yeah, there's obviously two that especially right off the bat. 9 a.m. we got Del Mar and Mission, and those are two teams. Del Mar, which most of those kids are from Cathedral Catholic High School.
Yeah.
They had a very young team last year. And I was actually at the regional game, and they gave Newport all they could handle in that game at CDM.
Right.
So have everyone back. And so they're going to be one of the formidable top 2 or 3 teams in the country next year. I really believe that, Cathedral Catholic, and they're all those Del Mar kids. It's, those kids that won 14s and 16s that are now mature to the 18U group.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to them playing against, a team too, like Mission, who lost a lot.
Yeah.
Last year is, led by Taylor Bell. He's gone. Now I know that I'm talking like he is going to play. He actually is playing in Futures, but he's not there yet. He's just had knee surgery, so he's going to be out. But he won't be there for Mission. But they got Tyler Anderson back and Connor Coleman, 2 outstanding juniors, probably 2 of the better juniors in the country. So I'm really, you always want to see the best against the best, right?
Right.
So really, and college coaches want to see that, and so I'm really looking forward to that matchup, as well as Newport. Obviously, the rivalry. Newport plays Mission at 2:00. Obviously, the rivalry game there. They met in the Open Final, I believe, the last 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's a very intriguing matchup. And then, I'm really looking. Trojan had a really good 16s team last year, and they've all moved up. They got some young talent. Flynn Gunther, Lucas. God, his name's slipping my mind there. He plays at Miracosta too, the center.
Yeah.
And Flynn Gunther, and they got other guys too, Loyola kids and all that, Jake Lee and all that. So they're going to be really good. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then, like I mentioned before, CIU, like that Ventura, Santa Barbara area, they had 3 teams. You had Ventura Buena make the Open. You had Westlake out in that area make the Open, along with Oaks Christian. And then you also had San Marcos make the Open Division. And so all those teams, most of those kids are playing for CIU. And so I'm really intrigued to see them, like Jack Pointner, River Davis. Those are 2 guys that played at Buena High School. See how they, match up against the best of the best. I'm looking forward to that as well.
And I had in my mind somewhere that some of the Pride Oaks kids are also on that team as well. Like the older kids, the Coker's not having them play in the 18s, that they moved them over to CIU.
Yeah.
Is that true?
They had Jaden Winters and Samson Williams, 2 center types, utility types with Jaden Winters. Jaden Winters has had the Pomona Pitzer. I'm not sure if Samson's picked a school yet, but 2 big bodies that are helping out that CIU program. But like Camden Coker, Saul Biddle, and
Kai Johnson. Kai Johnson's going over there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, Camden Coker.
Yeah.
Kai Johnson's going with CIU, but Camden Coker, Max Burstein, and Saul Biddle are playing with the Beast Boys.
Oh, really?
Those 3 Oaks Christian guys I saw them play at Cap 7. So they're with the Beast Boys with that they're going under the name of North Irvine, but they call themselves the Beast Boys. But it's another kind of like Vanguard situation. It's kind of like a super type team that's come together, and they put that one together.
Very cool. So
Pereira's,
Yeah, Carrera's a great coach. And so, I
Yeah.
mean, as you're looking at that, and all the teams that are playing at JSerra, they're guaranteed spots to stay in one, right? In Division One, as I
Yeah.
understand that. And so then
Yeah.
the crossover games, let's talk a little bit about that. You've got those games that are becoming um, the groups that are going to be fighting, and I mean the D1 games are great but it's always interesting in the futures format where you have teams that are fighting to move up from D2 to D1 and fighting not to get relegated from D1 down to D2, and that's true at every
Yeah.
level: D2, D3, D4. So I mean, if you look at those matchups, and those are going to be that's going to be at CDM High School. We've got Pride and La Jolla, SoCal, CDM, SD Shores, Patriot, LA Premier, and North Irvine. Some powerhouse programs there that there's going to be some sad teams that are not going to advance into D1, at least this weekend, right? And hopefully
Yeah.
fight to get up in there. Do you see any upsets or things of people moving around in that second level?
Um, at this stage, I don't have that list in front of me.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, to be honest with you, who's in with D2 right now. I'm just starting to look into that right now and look at it because I do plan on covering, like, I try to get D2 at least a couple times during the spring just to
Yeah.
see everyone. But I saw Patriot. Patriot is coached by Ivan Bujic, the assistant coach at USC. I saw them play at Cap 7. They got some nice pieces. They have a really good looking up and coming senior Ryder Tonkovic who plays at Portola, and he's a really intriguing D1 prospect. So, and I really look forward to seeing him play against top level competition as well. SoCal's been they've got a good program, obviously a great traditional program. They've
Right.
got great room. I don't know. It's my school computer.
That is a fantastic comment right there. That it just starts to rain and your computer shuts down. It's like, I'm out. I'm going. I'm sorry. I gotta go. That's funny. All right. Well, good. Well, thanks for getting back. All right. We kind of lost our train of thought there. Can you start us back up there a little bit?
Yeah. So we were talking about some of the programs that have a chance of possibly moving.
Oh yeah.
So I was just thinking, I haven't seen we're getting back. We were talking about SoCal.
Yeah.
We were talking about so SoCal's got some good players. They have to, like, every year they reload and so forth and their 6 teams move up, and they did lose a lot last year, but they got some good pieces coming back. John Bergstead was a standout at Foothill High School. He'll be probably a D1 recruit. And then you have Logan Hetland, and you have Logan McGann, one of the better juniors, better sophomores in the country. He's on that team with Evan Wu, one of the better juniors. They're both play at Santa Margarita.
Yeah.
And then I was mentioning before, and they have a really good goalie, Edric Scott, who's in the cage. He's going to Cal Baptist next year. He played at Foothill. And then they got, I believe, Porter Bertzel, one of the better sophomores in the country. He's back from Serbia. And so he's back home. And he was playing with SoCal before. So I assume he's going to be playing with SoCal. And so that's a huge boost for them. So I could see them possibly, and they got a great coach. Jake Lathy's a great coach. He's an assistant at UC Irvine as well. I could see them making a push to D1 for sure.
Yeah, one of the Porter Birdsall, I've watched him play quite a bit in the 6-8 showcases, and he has one of the dirtiest shots from the outside that I can think of. Like, it's been so fun to watch that. He can just light it up and put it in with his wrist from just about anywhere. Anytime he's touched the ball, he's going to put that ball in the goal.
Oh yeah, he's got elite wrist action, and he's a big kid. He's got tremendous potential, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to. And I would assume, in San Diego Shores, they do a great job, and their kids always play hard, and they have a whole new group coming up. I know they probably should have Charlie Martin, who's headed to Fordham.
Yeah,
it's a great pickup for Fordham. He played. He had a really terrific career at Bishops in San Diego. I haven't seen their roster, to be honest with you, but I assume Charlie Martin will be leading the way for that group, and Andrew Boxsteller, who's going to UC Irvine, I would assume is going to be in that team as well. So yeah, they're going to be good. We already talked about Patriot, and it's LA Premier. Jack Rover, terrific coach. They've had some adversity this past year, with all the player movement and all the
Right.
stuff that was going on there. But he's got some really good young kids coming up, a really good sophomore group, a good freshman group. And of course, he's got the dynamic Connor Kim, and then this big center, Otto Stothart, who's headed to Princeton. Kim's going to Harvard. So, you never want to count out Ellie Premier,
Right.
especially with Grover at the coaching.
Yeah. Grover's a stud. Yeah.
He's a stud.
He's a great kid. Great guy. I would love to break down the Beast Boys a little bit. North Irvine. They've been getting some. I've had a couple of conversations. And last time with Dusty, he mentioned them. They're fighting their way back up, trying to get up into D1. Break down some of the names or what you're familiar with there with that North Irvine under Coach Carrera.
Yeah, it's they're playing much better together in terms of chemistry than I anticipated. Watching them at Cap 7, they made it to the championship, and they lost to La Miranda. And La Miranda is coached by Guy Baker, Olympian coach, and he heads La Miranda's. And they have a great team. They have a very good team as well. And it was a great game. It was a shootout victory for La Miranda over the Beast Boys. But some of their guys that stood out, it's really good to see Gavin Conant, who's going to SC. It's really, really sad he missed his senior season at J. Sarah. Could have pushed them over the top.
Right.
He's a dynamic shooter, passer. So he's back in the water. He seems healthy. That was really good to see him. They also have Jackson Harlan, who's head to Santa Barbara. He had a great career at CDM. He's a national team kid, as well as Gavin Conant. So they're 1-2 sides beastly with those guys. Coker's going to be coming into the picture. He's a great playmaker. They got Saul Biddle, who can score. They got Max Burstein at center. Colt Bradley is going to SC. He's dynamic all around. I think they want to win, and I know they want to win, and they just seem like the camaraderie seemed really good with those guys. And they got Luke Harris in the cage, the Newport Harbor boy. So they're set in the cage as well.
So I didn't know. So Jacob came down from down from Northern California to join.
On the roster. Yeah, he's on the roster, but he did play at Cap 7. But I know he's with the team.
Yeah,
but Reed Hanna did come from up north, and he did play this past weekend at Cap 7.
So he's probably obviously not playing for 680 in the north, from the northern side of Futures that you're aware of.
He's playing for the Beast Boys. He won't be with 680. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, we've got a few more minutes here. Tell me any observations from D3 and D4 of what you've watched or what you've seen. Any teams you're wanting to see play or give some shout outs to here in Divisions 3 and 4.
Yeah, it was good to see South Bay United. I was up at Oxnard. It was good to see South Bay United, Temple City. Temple City, Chucky Roth, who's just a terrific coach at San Marcos High School, coaches the girls there, just does an amazing job there. He started that Temple City program way back when, and it's essentially all the high school kids that go to Temple City, and they make a nice little CIF run, I believe D3 and so forth. Yeah. And they have a kid, Marco Huey, who's also in our ODP program with Coastal. He's just a good all-around player. He's a freshman there. This was all 16s. I think it was Desmond Rivas, their center. He made a bunch of plays. So with Temple City, and then like South Bay United, they had some good kids too. They played a really good game. It was against, I believe, the Santa Barbara team. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. It was like 3 weeks ago, but it was good to see every division. From D1, D2, D3, D4, and these kids just competing, and then they're playing hard, and there's always going to be, even with those teams that normally they don't have the depth to compete with some of the bigger schools or whatever, but there's always some really good quality kids there in those programs. Right. Supreme, another program there with kids. Most of those kids going to Sherman Oaks Notre Dame High School. They had some quality kids as well. That stood out to me when I was doing those broadcasts. Right.
Let's just do a quick rundown here. So we talked about the 1-2 crossover. In the 2-3 crossover games, we've got Imperial and Set, Route 66, OC, WPC, Monarchy, CMAC, Palos Verdes, Rose Bowl, Foothill, LB Shore, South Coast, and my boys from Olympus, right? So hopefully we'll see how those guys cross over in 2 and 3. And then crossover for 3 and 4, ORWP, Carlsbad, Supreme Charger, SBU Commerce, Rancho Tsunami, Vegas North Irvine are in that 3-4 crossover. Any sleeper teams in there that you think are going to be moving up from? And the format is a little bit different this year, where you can pretty much move up. Not every weekend, but you can move up quickly as opposed to the last couple of years. The way Dusty's put it together this time.
Well, a team that definitely want to keep my eye on is Long Beach Shore. Zach Palmentier, he took over at Long Beach Wilson a couple of years ago. He has a really good quality sophomore class, and some good. He's got some good pieces coming back next year, where he'll probably make a run at the Open division next year. But he's got like Vaughn Baker, Nicholas Tramontano, Keegan Abing. Those are just names off the top of my head.
Right.
But this Long Beach Shore team they're going to be playing 16s and 18s because they're young enough to play 16s and 18s. And they Long Beach Shore did upset Vanguard this past weekend at Cap 7. I was at that game. That game was at Garden Grove High School, and it was a big victory for Long Beach
That's
Shore.
Cool.
So, Shai Cordell, Long Beach State alum, runs Long Beach Shore, and the program's definitely on the upswing, and they have a really solid. They're probably their best 14U team in 6 or 7 years, and they'll make they're going to make some noise in futures as well.
Cool. Well, our time's running out here, so let's great breakdown. Getting excited for weekend number 2. Next week we'll break down 16Us. How about that? We do that next weekend?
Good, yeah,
that'd be fantastic.
We can recap.
Recap
18s.
Yep.
And some of those monster matchups.
Yeah.
And then 16s will be 16s is really it's wide open. Obviously Del Mar, depends what Del Mar does. Like if Newport last year, had that great. They have a terrific junior class. They're going to be seniors next year.
Yeah.
And they played 16s and 18s. And I think they won both. If
right.
I'm not mistaken. And their 4 teams went to the finals. So it's going to be, and it's 16s. It's going to be really exciting to watch that as well.
So that'll be great. Would you say 2:00 February 15th at J. Sarah, Newport Beach, Mission is the game of the week? True or false? What do you think?
At this point, I would say that.
Okay.
Because you just add in there's so much. There's built-in tension between those two groups.
We love the rivalry, right?
Fire in that group. There's no love lost with those two.
Yeah. Well, and Del Mar, that Del Mar Mission game at 9 a.m. should be pretty good. 9
a.m. to start us off. Yeah.
Yeah, so, that's going to be.
It's going to be great.
Cool. Joel, incredible breakdown, incredible analysis. Listen to Joel live on February 15th from J. Sarah on Game On Live Studio. You can watch it on the Goals Network. And that's going to be free. You can go on and access that. You have free access to be able to see all those games, D1, 1-2 crossover, 2-3 crossover, 3-4 crossover, and then the four Division 4 games as well. So there's some great stuff happening. All the water polo you can watch here on Goals. Think about this for a second. We're starting 25 straight weekends of water polo broadcasting this weekend, going in all the way through the end of JOs. So we have lots to talk about, Joel.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to have to keep my vocal cords.
You're going to have to take some lozenges to make sure that you got everything wrapped up. So if you haven't already, please go check it out on our social media. You might be watching it here, but we're at Game On LS at GAMEONLS. You can find all the streams at goals.co or live.goals.co, one of the two. Obviously, if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe. And if you are listening to any of the distribution channels for an audio podcast, give us a 5-star review, and that helps everyone find it. And share it with your friends. Sean Stringham here with Joel Fransisco. Joel, I'm going to give you the last word. What do you have here? You can sign us out.
Sign us out here?
Yeah, how about that? No pressure, right?
No pressure. Hey, something? A shout out. How about a shout out to Dusty Litback for starting Futures?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, Futures is the best. There was Cal Cup, and those. I forgot the other league offhand, but Futures is the best because in my experience thus far, the competition is great. and the kids are playing for something.
Every week they're playing for something. Love it.
Every week there's always
Yep.
like incentive to play hard. There's no really any letdown in the way the kids approach this and the coaches approach this. And so, I think it's one of the best things that have happened for USA Water Polo for sure.
Yeah.
Especially in the club season.
Yeah. Great enough. Great stuff. Great analysis, Joel. Joel and Sean here. You'll see us around. See you for the next 25 weeks in a row. Peace.
All right.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Peace out.
Cool.